Thank you for tuning in to Tech Trends, the program that takes you on a ride in 25 minutes to seek out innovation and creativity that are unique to Africa. On our lineup this week, we feature Hervest, a digital platform providing financial inclusion for underserved and excluded women in Africa through a gender-lens investment approach. Plus, I will be talking to Dr. Kashifu Inua, who is the Director General and CEO of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, on Nigeria's digital transformation journey and the role NIDA is playing. A warm welcome to the program. I am Olayemi Ojunuga. The internet is not just one thing. It's a collection of things, of numerous communication networks that all speak the same digital language.
Thank you very much.
It's an assembly of 120 researchers, startups and stakeholders to kick off the National Artificial Intelligence Strategy Workshop.
NCC.
The theme of the workshop, developing the high-level strategy and implementation plan for a national AI strategy for Nigeria. This aims to enable Nigeria lead Africa and play a leading role in the global artificial intelligence ecosystem.
Please, let's be seated.
According to the Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, substantial investments is being made to train Nigerians to become AI experts, thereby positioning Nigerians at the forefront of global AI development.
Our position is to ensure that our voices are represented in the development of this technology globally. And I want to remind us, we're not far behind. The world at the minute when it comes to artificial intelligence is diverging. The US has its own perspective to how AI should be developed and regulated. The Europeans have their approach to how it should be developed and regulated. The Asians have many approaches to how it should be developed and regulated. So even as we start to think of the African way, we must show leadership. Let's not imagine that we can't show global leadership, because there's nowhere in the world where AI is going to be based on divergent views. What we're seeing today is the reality that countries are still grappling with it. So there's a lot of silos in the way people are thinking about AI. But I can assure you that in the next 3 to 4, 5 years, there will be convergence. And why do we need to wait until that convergence starts to give leadership to? And this is what I'm challenging each and every one of us that will participate in this workshop, not to be too focused on strategies and thinking around AI that is limited to Africa or Nigeria, that our focus should be thinking about what a good AI will be for the world.
The Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, Dr. Kashifu Abdullahi, says the approach would help diversify the nation's economy.
We can use AI to develop economic diversification strategy with AI in mind. According to a World Economic Forum, AI will add $15.7 trillion to the global GDP by 2030. And also according to McKinsey, just Gen AI can add between 2.6 to 4.4 trillion to our global economy annually. So we can design our economic diversification strategy with AI in mind. And also, the president wants us to strengthen national security. We all know the role AI can play when it comes to national security. So we can design our national security strategy with AI in mind, how we can gather data, make sense out of it, and get intelligence for our national security.
The Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy had last year launched the Nigeria artificial intelligence research scheme with an aim to cooperate a national AI strategy for Nigeria to responsibly steer the AI revolution towards achieving national goals around job creation, social inclusion, and sustainable development.
From target savings to investments and credit specifically for women farmers, Nigerian fintech startup Hervest is providing financial services for underserved and excluded women in Africa. Part of the goal of the inclusive fintech platform is to close the economic gender gap through financial literacy, mentorship, and access to finance.
So we don't have an extra spring. That's all. So.
This inclusive fintech company is on a mission to close the gender finance gap, hindering the economic empowerment of women in agriculture.
No, they didn't. Okay. No, I thought I saw something on here. I was there.
In an effort to rewrite the narrative, they are empowering smallholder women farmers and traders with access to savings, investments, and credit, thereby breaking down barriers that have constrained the potential of these women.
We provide women access to savings and investments as well as credit. So what we do is we have two types of customers. We have the supply side and we have the demand side. So the supply side are users that would use our mobile app to, save, invest. And the investing is more or less impact investment. And this impact investment goes to underserved women in rural areas, which are notably smallholder female farmers, as well as women leading micro enterprises. The women that use our mobile applications actually invest in women in rural areas by putting in their funds. So these women can use this money to, farm as well as run their businesses, micro enterprises.
Nigeria envisions becoming Africa's breadbasket, but faces a 20 to 30% gender gap in financial inclusion, especially in agriculture, and that's according to the World Bank Group. Despite their vital contributions, women farmers produce 30% less per hectare than their male counterparts, mainly due to limited access to land, seeds, fertilizers, and mechanization.
I realized that there was a challenge, and the big challenge was that a lot of women were not consuming financial services, even across board, even at banking, which is meant to be like the basics of financial services. And of course, this were due to many reasons that, I cannot exactly sweat here, but they are largely due to our societal constructs, the patriarchy itself, and a lot of women feeling like finance is a man thing and they can afford to sit back and not consume it. And so, but when I looked at the challenges, it isn't as if because women were lazy, but they were just not exactly being responsible for their finances. Because when you look at trade, when you look at the market, the farms, women constitute more, they contribute a lot of activities, in making money. But between making money, saving it, and then ultimately investing it, something breaks for women due to financial education, due to lack of access to easier tools that is custom to their daily living. Because a lot of women, if you look at it, are actually time poor. Right, so there are just so many factors, as I've said, that are varied, and we decided to start Hervest that would build the face of financial services that does not leave any woman behind, regardless of their income, economic background, creed, or age.
Through a blended finance model, Hervest is revolutionizing agriculture financing, providing vital resources and training to marginalized smallholder women farmers.
Yes, we are changing that narrative first by, we started by digging deep into what the challenges are. I recall when we started, we did tons of researches, spoke with hundreds of women. And so when we started, we realized that not everybody literally needs credit, right? And then there are underserved women communities, there are financially underserved women communities and financially excluded women communities. So when I mentioned earlier that the credit part of a business, goes to low-income women communities, it is because those are the women that need it the most. Most of them are at ground zero. The worth of some of these women's business in some cases is like 50,000, it's like 100,000. And if you leave them at that point, they can stay there for the next 5 years because they lack the right amount of capital, quality capital, at the right time. So we need to disburse loads of capital into that. So we focused on credit upon that, on that system. And then we focused on financial education and giving savings tools, to financially underserved women. Those are women like myself, women that are digitally savvy, that have some income, that women entrepreneurs that are digitally savvy, right? So we realize it's not going to be business as usual. That's what we've realized. So what we do is we deploy custom solutions to custom groups of women, savings and impact investment to some, credit to some, and then we offer this in a peer-to-peer lending model.
By leveraging digital technology and a peer-to-peer model that connects women farmers with the much-needed capital and resources, Hervest is not only closing the gender finance gap, but also leveling the playing field for women in agriculture. However, this also poses challenges for the niche company.
One of our major challenges has been the fact that we're a niche product and we're for women. And we are sidelining like half of the population, more or less. But what we're trying to preach is inclusivity, which means that we're not actually excluding men, but we're making men allies to empower women financially. We're bridging the financial gender gap and ensuring that women have access to financial services. So we do that by giving women that would not normally be able to go to a bank to receive credit. So I'm talking about the smallholder female farmers or a rural woman in rural areas that don't even have any form of financial footprint. We give these women access to funds so that they can run their businesses effectively. And we also give women on the other side of the divide that have access to funds but don't know where to invest it as well. So with that, this will transcend into the fact that we don't really get as much funding as we should get because of our focus on women.
For Hervest, the journey has just begun, a movement towards a more inclusive and equitable Africa.
From day one, we knew that we're going to be for women and thoroughly for women to solve this economic gender gap. In the African continent, for instance, we have a $42 billion economic gender gap. There are a lot of people have romanticized, but fewer people have worked upon it. So we knew that it would have to require custom solutions. So the vision was clear from day one, but every day, this morning, tomorrow, everything keeps, getting better in terms of strategy. So when we started with just the savings part of the business and the credits, for instance. But over time, now we have group savings, now we have impact investments, now we have, varying, types of offerings on the products. And over time, the products too has expanded from just being available on mobile application alone to being available on web application and to being available on USSD for the women who do not have, access to internet or who do not have access to smartphones, just so that from their push phones, right, or from feature phones as we call it, they can also get financially included.
As this fintech company continues to empower women, the ripple effects of its initiatives are felt as it paves the way for a future where gender equality flourishes.
Yeah, some of them, but the problem with
Boosting Nigeria's digital economy is crucial for driving growth, innovation, and competitiveness in the global market. With a population of over 200 million people, there is immense potential for the country to harness the power of technology to accelerate economic development and improve the lives of citizens. The National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, plays a pivotal role in this digital transformation journey by spearheading initiatives to promote digital literacy, encourage innovation and entrepreneurship, and foster a conducive environment for the growth of the IT sector. Which is why I engaged in a conversation with the Director General and CEO, Dr. Kashifu Inuwa, on how the agency is paving the way for Nigeria to become a digital powerhouse. we often hear about digital transformation, but for the average individual, it might sound a bit abstract. Can you give us, a brief example of how digital transformation is making a difference in our daily lives?
So, when you say digital transformation, it could be digitization or digitalization, or it could be both. And when you say digitization, digitization means using technology to enhance your productivity, to enhance your service delivery, and enhance the way you do things. For example, in government, we digitize our processes where citizens can send email, will receive email and work on it. Or for example, at NIDA, when you bring any mail at the gate, they will receive it, scan it, and send it via email. So this will fast track the processes. Before, normally, we used to carry files from one office to another. And when you are at home or when you travel, you come back and meet heaps of files waiting for you to work on. But with digitization, you can work from anywhere in the world. If you want to get a passport today, you can apply online. You can do most of the process online. Then before you reach to the immigration office for data capturing and many more. So this is digitization using technology to enhance your processes. While when you say digitalization, mostly it's about coming up with the new business value proposition. For example, let's say Uber. Uber is using technology as a source of inspiration, the connectivity, it's using the compute processing power and data to provide a platform that can match a driver and a customer. And also for you as a customer, you can have not just a ride, you can have a transportation as a service because you have visibility of the driver coming to pick you, the type of the car, the amount, everything, you have it as a service. So this is a digitalization. So basically, digitization and digitalization, if you combine them together, is what we call digital transformation. And we see it as a journey. It is beyond technology because you need to look at the people, you need to look at the process, then the technology. That's why at NIDA, we have our strategic roadmap and action plan, which will help the Nigerian digital transformation journey, starting with fostering digital literacy and cultivating talent. Because if we want our citizens to benefit from digital transformation, they need to be digitally literate.
Digi,
Yes.
well, of course, we're going to come back to how NICDA, and the Ministry of Communication is promoting, digital innovative initiatives. But in your role as, of course, the DG and CEO of NICDA, how do you see digital innovation and emerging techs like, the almighty artificial intelligence and cloud computing and others, right? How do you see them playing a pivotal role in shaping Nigeria's economy?
So, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has mandated our ministry to accelerate the diversification of Nigerian economy through technological innovation. Under the redefined priority areas of the president, there is a pillar on accelerate diversification through industrialization, digitization, creative art, and innovation. So at the ministry and at NIDA, we look at this. How can we position Nigeria to benefit from that? How can we leverage the power of this technology to digitize our real sectors and also come up with new business value propositions? We've identified 6 areas we are focusing on based on the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy strategic blueprint. We want to put Nigeria among the top 25 percentile in AI, IoT, UAV, additive manufacturing, blockchain, and robotics. And how can we achieve this? We need to invest in research. We need to invest in building tech talents. We also need to encourage our startups to build innovative solutions that can help us solve problems in agriculture, that can help us improve the productivity in the sector, that can help us in education and many more. So based on the ministry strategic blueprint and NIDA's strategic roadmap and action plan, we have identified initiatives we are going to implement so that in Nigeria we can use technology to create prosperity. We can use technology to enhance productivity across sectors as well as accelerate economic diversification.
These initiatives you said NIDA and the Ministry of Innovation, Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy have identified. For our viewers who might not exactly be tech savvy, what impact will these initiatives have on entrepreneurs and businesses?
For our citizens, if you are digitally literate, you are selling tomatoes or onions in the market. If you are digitally literate, you can use your smartphone to reach out to your customers. You can put and showcase your products and services on social media. You can use WhatsApp and so on, share with them. They can make choice and they can transfer money for you to pay for that, and you can send it to them without really going there. And also, we cultivate talents because when we have more users, we need to build our digital offerings in country. So that's where we encourage startups, the tech SMEs, on building our digital offerings in country, as well as position Nigeria as the talent net exporter. Because in Nigeria, our greatest resources are human capital. So we can export our human brains and earn forex for our country. With technology, it is possible today to live in Nigeria and work remotely for anywhere. I know people living in Abuja, working for the US government, for European companies, and many more. So we are encouraging that, and also we are creating the enabling environment to achieve that so that we can position Nigeria as the global preferred destination for outsourcing. Then the second one is we are building robust technology research ecosystem because the digital literacy and talents are quick wins, something we can easily create values now. But for the future, we need to invest in research, in deep research, so that we can use technology to solve our national problems. And also we can be at the forefront of the fourth industrial revolution. Like Africa, we lost out during the first, second, and third industrial revolution. But for the fourth industrial revolution, we have no reason to be left behind because all what you need is talent and population. And we have both in Africa.
Well, time is never on our side, when we have critical conversations like this. But briefly, you, you spoke about the first industrial revolution, and as we are navigating that era, NIDA, of course, has been at the forefront of promoting a digital first approach But what steps are you taking to ensure Nigeria's competitiveness on the international stage?
So we have a pillar on nurturing innovative and entrepreneurial ecosystem, which after building the talent, providing the enabling environment in terms of policies and infrastructure for them, we want to leverage on AFITA to see how we can expand cross-border tech trading in Africa. And also with our strategic collaborations and partnership with the global ecosystem also, we expose the Nigerian ecosystem to global conferences, as well as invite them to Nigeria to come and see what we do. So these two things, these two pillars, the nurturing innovative and entrepreneurial ecosystem and forging strategic partnership and collaboration is what will help us to expand the Nigerian tech products and services to the global market.
Well, it's been an interesting conversation with you, Kashifu Inuwa, Director General and CEO of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us on Tech Trends.
Thank you, Ola. Thank you for having me.
And that's our show this week. Thank you for staying with us. But as always, Tech Trends is here to share insights, trends, and developments happening in the tech space. Also, all of our episodes are on the channel's TV YouTube account, and I encourage you to watch, share, and like your favorite editions. Until I come your way again next week, I'm Olayemi Odunuga. Bye for now.